Crescent City Steakhouse, a true neighborhood restaurant operated by the Vojkovic family since 1934, is the oldest steakhouse in the city of New Orleans. Serving only hand-cut, prime-aged, corn-fed beef for over 80 years, Crescent City Steakhouse has become a dining destination for both die-hard locals and adventurous travelers who seek traditional, timeless New Orleans cuisine. Crescent City Steakhouse, 1001 North Broad, on the corner of St. Philip, in the heart of New Orleans.
Inspired by the culture and spirit of New Orleans, the contemporary abstract and figurative work of Tony Mose and the urban expressionist art and jewelry of Tracy Mose are now on display and available at Esom Art Galleries. Esom Art Galleries are artist-owned and are located in Uptown New Orleans on Magazine Street and on Royal Street in the heart of the French Quarter. Esom Art Galleries, inspiration from the soul of New Orleans. Max Durbus Realtors has been providing commercial and industrial real estate services to its clients for nearly 100 years. Since 1934, Max Durbus has been locally owned and operated throughout the greater New Orleans area, including the North Shore, Hammond, and even the Mississippi Gulf Coast and beyond. We focus on your commercial real estate needs so you don't have to. More information is available at 504-733-4555.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime Sports. Hey, I'm your host, Scott Alexander. I seem to say this every week this time of year, but it is this time of year. Football is in full swing. And don't we love when the local teams all win? Sometimes it happens. This week it did not. As you know, LSU took a tough one to Ole Miss. That was a heartbreaker at the end of the game. They had a 9-point lead. They lost it. Saints, you know what happened there. We'll get to them in a second. But let's start with the Tulane Greenway because they deserve it. They're now 4-1. Hey, listen, this was kind of a trap game, man. I mean, UAB came in. They were big favorites, Tulane was. I remember the days when UAB was a 20-something point favorite. Tulane was. They did not cover the spread, but, boy, did they play an exciting game. And I'm going to say this, at the end of the game, they had a fourth down, and that guy right there, Lawrence Keys, got a bomb from Michael Pratt. You're thinking they're just going to run the clock out, hopefully get the first down. Maybe they were going to punt. They went forward on 4th and short, and you thought they was going to be – they threw a bomb down the field. Michael Pratt hit him right in stride and put the game away, and they ended up winning by 12 points. But what a fantastic game. They go into their bye this week at 4-1, 16-3 over the last 2 years. Congratulations. LSU, one of the most exciting games you'll ever see. Over 100 points scored in this game. Over 1,300 yards. That guy Thomas, number 11, had a huge game, but it was the Ole Miss. Hey, by the way, Ole Miss's offense is phenomenal. You saw that right there. That's Jackson Dart. They went for over 700 yards. That is unacceptable, but that is, if you like offense, it's exciting. If you like defense, you are rolling over. You are hating it. But the fact is, LSU got a 49-40 lead with about 5 minutes to go, and circumstances happen. They end up giving up 2 late touchdowns, and they lose this one. And they now have to rebound and go to Missouri this weekend at 11 a.m. We'll see what happens. Let's go to the Saints, and this is going to be brief. We know what happened. The offense looked putrid. Derek Carr probably shouldn't have played. He's gritty. He tried to play through his injury, but that's not going to work. We're going to move forward. They played the Patriots this week at noon. That team is reeling as well. But how about the Pelicans? It's all here. My man Alex went over to Media Day yesterday and shot some stuff. And look at Zion Williamson. Look how trimmed down he looks. This is a guy that's been maligned for his weight problems. He looks like he is ready to play. Look at that. He's moving around. He looks trim, about 40 pounds lighter. And C.J. McCollum had some great things. We know if C.J. McCollum, Brandon Ingram, and Zion Williamson will ever get in on the court for more than 10 games, that's all they played, this team is going to be great. And moving forward, hey, let's talk about this coaching clinic up in Baton Rouge this weekend. It's the OG Clinic. Tim Floyd, Kermit Davis, all the greats, Richard Williams, they're all going to be there. And that's going to be in Baton Rouge, 9 to noon on Saturday. And how about Art for Art's Sake? We're going to have my girl coming in, Mariah Bencik, and we're going to talk all about this big party. It's a 6-mile party all there October 7th. It's going to be from 6 to 9. Well, all that and more. We got Ron Hunter, Tulane's basketball coach, Mark Slessinger, UNO's basketball coach, and Devin Deal from Tulane football. He is one of the players of the week in the American Athletic Conference. All that coming up next right here on Primetime Sports.
gonna tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. We want to forget about football for a little bit. We know the Wave got a big win, but that LSU game was hard to handle at the end. The Saints, that was even harder. But hey, it's basketball season. It's right around the corner. You know how much I love the sport. The Pelicans had their media day yesterday. But the Tulane and UNO men's basketball teams are on the way up. Last year I went to several Tulane games. And boy, they were exciting. And they've got almost the entire team back. And the guy to tell us all about it is a 3-time NCAA tournament participant. His name is Ron Hunter, and he's been here for 5 years. Been on this show several times, and he's back again. What's up, my friend?
Good. Glad to be back.
I miss you, dude.
No, man, it seems like it was just yesterday.
I miss you. I remember before you were even at Georgia State, when Lefty Driesell was coaching, I was calling the TV games for about 2 or 3 years. I loved Georgia State, and my son ended up starting out there when the year he was a freshman. When your son hit that big shot and y'all won the NCAA tournament game against 3-seeded Baylor. What's your life been like since in the last 8 years?
It's been, you could throw COVID in there, you throw a couple hurricanes inside there. But
that's something you never really had to deal with.
No, didn't have to deal with that.
Did they put that in when you were doing interviews?
No, I didn't have that.
You might have to deal with this occasionally.
Displacement for 35 days. And but no, it's been great. It's been great. And we had to kind of turn around and build another program, something we've done since I've been coaching. And, we're at a great place right now, and from where we were when we started. So things are really going well for us.
I loved what you said. When the first day, and I know you're probably tired of hearing it, but when you said, "Hey, I'll walk if we don't win something, I'll walk across Lake Pontchartrain." Now take me to where it's been since then, because everybody's like, "Okay, this guy's got some balls. We'll see what happens." But when you made that comment and to where you are now, take us along that ride.
Well, again, it's funny because when I look back at it, it was really a successful year for us.
What was the exact comment?
I said if we wouldn't finish last, if we finished last, I would walk across Lake Pontchartrain.
That's the one, right.
But and again, you're thinking in that time in the league with Houston and UConn. And,
y'all were good.
Yeah,
y'all played way above everybody's expectations.
They hadn't won a league game in 2 years,
right.
And we were able to win games and we did it with guys. We kind of gutted the roster and just brought a lot of grad transfers in and so when I look back at that first year, it was really successful. From a record wise, for me personally, I like because we've had great seasons, but it really started something for us. That was kind of the foundation, and we've been able to build from there.
It's been a ride to watch because I know the transfer portal has helped a ton of teams out there. I'm talking football and of course basketball, and I watched the influx. I remember you got Forbes over from Alabama. You got Cross from Nebraska. You're bringing guys in, and they fit. And they started watching, and I'm like, how hard and how long does it take to get these kind of guys when they're – I know it must be a little easier in basketball than football because there's so many different guys. But in your mind, how long does it take to get these guys playing like they're playing now? Because these guys don't know each other. It's almost like an AAU team.
It's a great question. And before the portal, that's how I built IUPUI. That's how I built Georgia State. So we were doing a portal well before the portal was out there. And so now all of a sudden, everyone's doing it because, again, the NCAA rules, but not everyone can do it. And you're starting to see, there are programs that have really struggled with it to try to mix the, you can't just have a ton of portal kids and not the high school kids. So you've got to be able to coach those kids that kind of what I call it on their last stand. Right. Because they're transferring generally for a reason, and whether it's football or basketball. And so, there's a lot of untold stories with a lot of the kids in that regard. But for me, it's been great because I've been at programs where, again, we've had to kind of turn it around. And I don't like calling them portal kids or transfer kids.
No, of course not.
To be honest with you, that's what we do as coaches.
Right.
I mean, I transferred from Georgia State here to take this program.
Absolutely.
And so, it happens in business. It happens in all types of life. And I think the NCAA, we just kind of caught up to the point where, why can't student athletes have the same rights as everybody else?
Right. It's funny. I've gotten relationships with coaches that are local and some guys that, I've gotten to know them well. I remember Mark Slessinger was having his success with UNO. They went to the tournament. I was so excited for him. But I remember being at your game. You had that big win and you won your 500th victory, right? And just watching your face, because I've been to dinner with you a few times, Ron, but watching your face down there and just you looked up at the ceiling, you hugged your wife, you looked at the crowd. And tell me, explain that feeling of satisfaction you had at that moment.
Well, I'll be honest with you, that's something I never thought of. I never thought of winning 500 games and how long I've been doing this. I mean, it is a blessing to be coaching as long as I have. I mean,
right.
Generally in this business, you don't last as long.
Well, I had John Brady and our guy who used to coach the Bulls that was here. Tim Floyd. Neither of them had 500 wins. I mean, you would think they would have, right? But you have more than them.
Yeah, and it's just the longevity to be in the business, and so and really what kind of got me is seeing my granddaughter. When I saw her up on the board, she had a little message for me, and so that kind of got me.
You got tears.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Yeah, I was trying to fight those back,
but
when my granddaughter sent me her message and she had a little Tulane outfit on, that kind of got me. But good, just the longevity of it and the number of things, and then honestly getting the 500th here. That was also special to me in that regards. And so, as a coach, you never get into it thinking, hey, I'm going to get X amount of wins. But in our business, that is a milestone, and that's, one day I'm going to really sit back and appreciate it all.
I want to tell you something, because the early 80s, Tulane was rolling. They had Hot Rod Williams, Paul Thompson. They had a club, and they were winning. And they were playing against like Darrell Griffith in Louisville and playing them well. This past year, I'm watching, and I went to games, and the Houston game in particular, I'm just talking about the crowd, because the crowd was rocking and rolling in the 80s, and we hadn't really seen that. And the same at UNO, rocking and rolling in the early days, and they're trying to bring all that back, and sometimes they're successful. With that one game, the hype was so big, and I'm like watching the crowd. It reminded me of that time, and they were all not just there to be there because they felt like, hey, let's support it. They were involved in the game, and they were into it. Now, when you got here, you saw the smattering of fans. You might have 20 over there and 15 over there, and you saw that. I mean, just tell me. I mean, this has to feel somewhat satisfying to know that you've brought this to where it is right now.
Yeah, it does, and it has. Fortunately for me, that's something that I've seen at the other places that I've been to.
IUPUI, Georgia State.
We took them to the NCAA tournament at IUPUI. We took them to Division I.
With former Spur George Hill, right? I mean,
George Hill and those type of guys,
and your son was a superstar.
And then at Georgia State, again, they went 10 straight losing seasons, and 3 of the last 4 years we go to the NCAA tournament. And so,
that's amazing.
So we've been able to do that, and here it's a little more satisfying because like some of the other places, people said we couldn't do it here. You couldn't win here, and I don't believe I don't subscribe to that. And we've got great kids, this is a great city for basketball, and Tulane's a great place for it. But winning kind of just galvanizes people. Look at football, what they've done, and so Tulane athletics has just changed now. It used to be kind of a doormat, and then where people just come in and you win in football, you win here. Those days are over with, and so winning, as I said, cures all.
I mean, I'm from New Orleans, so I'm on the road 2 weeks ago, and I'm talking football for just a second, but just see where Tulane's athletic program is in the minds of others. They were talking about teams that could go next year, say the playoffs, because they're going to have 12 teams, legitimately go, as opposed to it's a pipe dream for group of 5, non-power 5 conference team to go to the Final Four. My point is that they said, what's the best team in the country that's not in a Power 5? Somebody said, well, Fresno State's playing great now, and Herb Street, who I think most people respect, so stop right there. When Michael Pratt's not injured, it's Tulane. They're the best. And I just was like beaming with pride. I didn't go to Tulane. I'm just from New Orleans. I love UNO, LSU, the same. I love them all. But the basketball program last year, I'm watching you just knock off team after team after team, and doing it in a style that makes it fun to watch. I mean, people are coming out, and I just saw the footage right there, of Forbes and Sion James, who I love so much, and these guys, you bring in high character folks in. But when you talk about, this is the year you kind of feels like it's been set up for, because you had a 21 season last year, and now you got almost everybody back. Yeah. So can we talk about this team and what you're expecting?
Well, that's what's great about winning. The expectations of us going to the tournament and winning games in the tournament. I mean, when I first got here, we just wanted to win a game, So no, we're excited about that. We had a great summer with China, and to be able to go 6-1 in China.
That's what I want to get to.
And play well, and had these guys back. And I know a lot of we had a couple guys transfer out, but the guys that we had transfer in are really good players. But what I'm excited about, those kids wanted to come here. Generally you got to fight to try to get.
Right.
Those kids wanted to be a part of it, and that's what we're seeing in the recruiting now. Kids are calling us instead of us trying to bang down the doors to get people to come here. kids that now want to play, whether it's a transfer or a high school player. And so that's when you really got things rolling in.
That's got to feel good, right?
It does, because those first couple of years, man.
No, you were hustling, man.
Oh, man, I had to beg everybody to come in.
You were hustling. You were like on the road. Scott, I'm on the road. I got to get clear. I need a point.
Yeah,
but no, let's talk about China, because to explain to everybody, Tulane was the team representing the United States. Before, they used to put players together just like they do for the Olympics. But they started, like Kansas brought a team a few years ago. I think it was Purdue. And they picked Tulane this year to be the representative, which I thought was amazing because you did have a cohesive unit. Yeah. And when you went over to China, I knew that was going to be a great cultural experience. Yeah. Did you expect to have tied for the best record of all the teams? I mean, Czechoslovakia, who won it, was 6-1. Y'all were 6-1, and y'all beat them. Yeah. And y'all finished third. But still no shame in that game. Yeah. But the fact is that was very successful.
It really was, and I didn't know what to expect. And when we got there, what I didn't realize is that we would be the youngest team there. And everybody had professionals on their team.
They're all, yeah.
And so, we had the opportunity. They did give me the opportunity to coach the team, and I could have gotten guys from LSU or Georgetown or Kentucky to play on my team. So again, as a head coach, I could have chose.
Oh, you could have. Okay.
I could have chose players around the country.
All right.
And I decided to keep my team intact and wanted to do it that. Even Kansas, what they did, they took a couple players from other programs.
I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
And so I could have easily have done that, but to have our team there, to be the youngest team there, play in front of sold out 15,000 people every single night.
That had to be wild.
It was great. It was a tremendous experience, and I thought our kids played great. I really did, and that's my first time coaching internationally like that in that type of environment, and you don't realize how people don't like the United States.
That was
we were the role game every game, and so I just was really proud of how our kids handled that, and we played great basketball.
Yeah, we know we're great, we love ourselves, but when you go overseas, you realize, hey, America's not many people are a fan of us. Yeah. But let me say this: let's talk individually about some of your players, because I had Sion James about this time last year. And he's an Atlanta guy, and I lived there for 20 years. And here he is right there. I just love this guy as a human being. I think this guy, whatever he does in his life, he's going to be successful. But he's kind of like the leader of this team, in my opinion. I know he's the straw that stirs the drink. I know Forbes and Cross get the points, but talk about what he means to your club.
Incredible. Not just a club. I mean, when you look back at recruiting, I recruited him at Georgia State, and being in Atlanta, and knew we couldn't get him there, and was able to come and get him here. But not just even for basketball. Like you said, a great human being, represents all student athletes across the country.
Yes, he does.
SAC and those types
he's
of
on
things.
He's on that board, right?
Would not be surprised if one day I'm sitting here and in New Orleans, retired, and this young man's the president of the United States. That's how much I think about it.
That's funny you said that. I told somebody when he was on the show, I said, this guy could be president for real. Yeah. And, okay, you brought some bigger name guys from transfer. We mentioned them before. Forbes, Jalen Forbes, and, of course, Crossover from Nebraska. These are big guys that can score. When both of them can get hot, and when they get hot, just feed them the ball. So talk about what they've brought to your program for the last 2 years, 3 years.
Man, they've been incredible. Both of them put their names into the draft this year and decided to come back this last year. Both of them probably could have stayed in and made money professionally, but we all kind of, this is the year we kind of been pointing at. They've been great ambassadors for our program, both all conference guys for the last couple of years, and just really, really talented young people that have helped us. And and I've always told them this, is that when you first get to a program, you've got to get one or two guys that are all conference or great players that we can kind of build around. And we're able to build around those two guys, and now the future is bright because those guys took a chance on coming here. I always call them our COVID kids because I recruited both of those kids during COVID when you couldn't go out. I'd never seen either one of them play.
Oh, wow.
I did that on an iPad. I recruited both of those guys on iPad.
You did see some footage, though.
We saw a little footage, but not a lot because Forbes didn't play at Alabama.
That's right.
And neither did Kevin. So really, it was all about.
Cross didn't play at Nebraska.
Didn't play much in Nebraska.
Okay.
So we're, again, these are something we just sat there and talked. I wasn't even in town here because when COVID hit, I kind of went back to Atlanta. So I'm just doing myself on iPad recruiting.
That's crazy.
And those are my COVID guys.
I want in closing, I want to ask you a question about recruiting because you are a dynamic personality. I mean, that's documented. Everybody knows you're well known across the country from your tournament appearances. But like when you go into like the COVID era, post-COVID era, and in the portal, what is your selling point?
Well, I think first you got to sell yourself.
Right.
And because you can't even get them to campus if they don't start buying into you. And so I think, first of it is that they've kind of got to buy into the coach. But I've had some great places to sell, man. New Orleans is easy to sell.
That's good to
Atlanta
hear.
is easy to sell.
Yeah.
But here in New Orleans, I got so much to sell and what's great about this city. And so the sale to New Orleans makes it easier. This has probably been the easiest recruiting job I've had in regards to the schools because of the city. And so that's what makes this city great. And I mean, we have home visits and those type of things, man. It's a party. And so, you know,
wow,
our kids enjoy it. And so this has been a great sale. And Tulane sells itself also.
That's awesome. Hey, man, best of luck. Since you are a Tulane guy, you have 1 million task shirts. So we're going to give you 2 gift certificates in case since you passed
But
on
I do
that.
love task shirts.
Oh, I know you do.
I've got like a ton of them
Oh,
in there.
I'm giving you at least 5 of them. All right, I've filled one little drawer up. But instead, I'm going to give you both Shays Delachey's and Mr. John's.
Okay.
And I might have to give you a shirt to old Mark Schlesinger who's coming in. But here you go, man. That's Shays Delachey's. That's 2 of those.
Thank you.
And then that one
Appreciate it,
there.
buddy.
And you know what? I want to get you on this baseball helmet. I know it's baseball, but I got Lisa Stockton, the women's coach right here.
Hey,
I got Willie Fritz. I got some
I'm
of the
still
great
trying
players.
to get the baseball coach to let me, you know, let me have batting practice for a little bit. You know,
Really?
I love baseball.
Oh, I
used
think
to
he'll
play.
let you. I think
Oh
he'll
yeah, I
let
want to
you.
come out and have a little batting practice.
Jay
man.
Ullman.
Yeah,
No.
come on, Jay. Let coach come out and hit some
Coach
balls.
wants to hit some balls, and I want to watch, so make sure you call. I'll bring the camera, too. All right. That is Ron Hunter.
Thanks, buddy.
I hope they came through. Ron Hunter there. He is the coach of Tulane. Go out and support all your local teams. Tulane, obviously, the season starts when?
November 6th, first game.
November 6th at home?
At home.
November 6th. Put that on your calendar. And, you know, coming up next, another team that I grew up watching and loving. Some guys that played in the NBA when I was a kid, like Wayne Cooper, who played for years in the NBA, was a UNO privateer. And now we have their longest tenure coach, the coach that has most wins in UNO history. Yeah, that's right. More than Tim Floyd, more than Benny Dees, more than all of them. His name's Mark Slessinger, and he's been a friend of the show since I moved back literally 11 years ago. First radio, he'd come on my show. And for the last 8 years, it's been coming on TV. I love Sless. He's next, right here on Primetime Sports.
Rock and roll will never die. It's old New Orleans, my oh my. Come on, baby, let's go rock and roll at the city lane. All night, let's roll, let's rock and roll. Baby, do the rock and roll. At the mid-city lanes, the home of rock and roll.
Fall in love with autumn with PJ's new seasonal lattes. Our pumpkin latte brings you all the flavors of a pumpkin pie with hints of cinnamon and nutmeg, like your favorite holiday dessert in a cup. And our s'mores latte with flavors of toasted marshmallows, warm milk chocolate, and graham cracker cinnamon is sure to bring back campfire memories. The PJ's Fall Seasonal Lattes, available at your local PJ's only for a limited time.
Inspired by the culture and spirit of New Orleans, the contemporary abstract and figurative work of Tony Mose and the urban expressionist art and jewelry of Tracy Mose are now on display and available at Esom Art Galleries. Esom Art Galleries are artist-owned and are located in Uptown New Orleans on Magazine Street and on Royal Street in the heart of the French Quarter. Esom Art Galleries, inspiration from the soul of New Orleans.
Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to tell you how I met my next guest, and it was random. I was on, my friend was on a plane, and they started talking to you, Mark Slessinger, and next thing I heard was, hey, Mark Schlessinger's listening to your show. You got to get him on when I was on ESPN Radio. And I'm like, he listens to the show. So that's how it started. I've become a good friend of his over the last 11 years, I guess. He got here a little before I moved back, and I've watched the progression of UNO basketball. Another guy that went to the NCAA tournament, and what a great run that was. Great coach, fun to watch, because if you played basketball, you know a guy that knows how to coach. And this guy, when you go watch his practice, watch the game, it's fun to watch if you love basketball. And here he is again. He comes every year, sometimes twice a year. His name's Mark Schlesinger. His friends call him Sless. So I guess I'll call you Mark Schlesinger. So how's it going, buddy?
Doing great, Scotty. Thanks for having me back.
I missed that smile, man. How you been?
I've been fantastic. Fantastic life as well. Basketball season's in full effect. We're in our second week of practice, official practice. Guys are doing really, really good. It's always the best time of the year. Season's about to start. Kids are busy in school. We got a lot going on.
You got a little glow to you, man. I'm going to say this. I don't know if that color blue is slimming, but you look slimmer. You look happy. Is everything going that way?
Well, I listen to my wife. 99.9% of the time, and that usually is a good decision on my part. So I give all the credit to my wife.
You look good.
Thank
you.
you.
Look good.
Appreciate it.
Talk about the progression since you've been on. For the people that haven't seen the show, I do have some new viewers. When you took over the program to where you are right now.
Yeah, we came in 2011, and the university and athletic department was in a state of flux, to say the least.
No, right, yeah.
We were able to right the ship, really get back on track to where we were able to get to the NCAA tournament, win the conference in 2017, build that into going to postseason 4 times in my tenure, which has been a great accomplishment for our student athletes and our coaching staff that's been together. But more than anything, able to graduate 97% of our seniors in our 12 years that we've been there, been able to.
That's amazing.
Congratulations. Thank you, to lead our conference, to lead the nation in community service, giving back into our community, and just do a lot of great things. Be able to see guys go around the world and travel around the world playing professionally, not just in the G League, but around all different countries.
Yeah, countries, right?
We had
basketball is huge around the world.
We got 11 different guys playing right now.
That's great.
On our teams that are currently signed on contract, and we got a few more that I think will pop in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So that's awesome to be able to see that. I've got 2 invitations to former players'
so this
weddings.
Is your 13th season?
13th season.
That's wild, Mark. I mean, coaches don't usually last that long anymore. I mean, anywhere.
Well, I think it's a testament to having really, really good players, but having good coaches as well, and having an administration that supports you, understands the vision and why you do it, your why, and how you want to move forward in trying to build a program that's sustainable. And I think that's always been the directive from my presidents and from Dr. Henderson at the system office, to really have a sustainable program that year in and year out you can be in the hunt for championships. You'll have a bad year, a bump in the road, like it happened last year. But the year before we were down to the very last game.
I remember it well.
118, and we feel like we're primed again for this year to have that kind of season again.
Well, you're probably tired of me saying it, but I use you as an example a lot as a testament to staying with the coach. I used it recently because of Willie Fritz's situation last year. Went 2-10 in football. They kept him, and oh my God, are they glad they did. 12-2, and now everybody's talking about Tulane. Same with you in basketball. I watched your games. You were definitely undermanned in some situations, but the coaching was not the problem. I watched it. It was great. I went to a lot of games, and they kept you, and then you reward them with the NCAA tournament bid. And I got chills thinking about that run. I really did. I just got chills down my leg because that was one of the more awesome moments. And I hate to re-talk about it again, but it is worth talking about. Talk about how satisfying that was that year.
Well, it was amazing to just see all the hard work from the years and years and years that was unseen.
Unseen, yes.
Our student athletes in 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 that really built the foundation when we were not postseason eligible, that stayed the course. One of them is on my staff right now. Corey Dixon was on that group.
I love Corey Dixon. He's on the staff. He's a great player, man.
He played professionally for 6 years after, came back on staff, was on staff with the G League team with the Pelicans last year, and then came back with me again this year. So just guys like that and other people that really laid the foundation to be able to have a sustainable program where not only you graduate guys and you do the things that you're supposed to do on campus in the community, but you're in the hunt to win championships. And in the end, that's what we know is the end game for my profession. It's a hard profession, but it's a great one. And it's really
a hard
rewarding.
profession. I mean, you guys, it's crazy. And I tell people when they get on to the fire coach like they're doing Dennis Allen right now, which is ridiculous, okay? It's one game. Everybody overreacts. But my point is, like, y'all's lives are dictated by what 18, 19, 20-year-olds do. And it always blows my mind when people that are out there just, piping on their computer. I'm like, dude, do you have any idea what you're saying? They had 2 bad games, and you want to uproot his entire family, and he's got kids that are 11 years old to 4 to 11. Just step back, but talk about that, because I don't really get into that too much with coaches on this show. What it's like, the pressure, because you have a family. Nobody really wants to keep moving around, especially when they're young. What's it like?
It's extremely rewarding in that my children get to be a part of my life, and they get to be a part of our student athletes' lives, and they get to have a lot of big brothers.
That's cool.
For me,
that is cool.
They get to see young men that are highly motivated, both on the court and in the classroom. They get to have a lot of mentors that may not look like me or may not be my age or other views besides me. So that part, it's really rewarding. It's hard sometimes when you don't have success, or you have a bad game, or you have a bad week, because they feel it too. Last year my youngest was 3 going on 4, and he knew like we were on a bad streak.
Bo,
yeah.
B-E-A-U-X.
Yes, and Bo knew we were on a bad streak. And
you could tell.
And they want you to win, and they're no different. They'll pray in their prayers that they hope we win.
I love that.
And I don't believe in that. I just want us to do our best. But
I know you believe in prayer. You still believe that they're going to answer those prayers to win
100%.
basketball games. We got more important things going on in life.
But for a 4-year-old and a
Right.
10-year-old, it's
100%
they think
thought it would come
that's
true.
Correct, absolutely. And so I always support that. But at the same time, it just put in perspective that it's a big part of their lives too. And my wife and my mother-in-law, my parents, everybody involved, and then also the student athletes' parents. Everybody wants the same goal.
Right.
And everybody's working tirelessly towards that goal. And I think there's a lot of unseen hours that people don't see, that I open up the doors and invite people to come in and see that may want to be critical. They don't always take me up on it. But the doors are always open. Come watch practice. Come meet our guys. Come see the student
That's
athletes.
very cool.
Very few of them do. They'd rather click. But hopefully some of them do, and I think they get a different
When you mean by
perspective.
click, they'd rather just throw darts at you that way over the internet,
Sure.
right?
Where I would much rather people be inclusive and collaborative and come be a part of the solution and try to move it forward.
So you're killing them with kindness.
You need every hand. I think New Orleans is a special city. It's a city I love. It's my home. I haven't been here for over a decade, but it is a handshake city still, and it's a city where you meet people and you have interpersonal relationships and you make contact and you trust people. They're going to be way more anxious to be a part of what you're doing. It's just not, you can't send them a flyer and hope they show up. You need to make a connection.
Oh, you have to in this town. Yeah. They'll love you. You just got to make sure you show love to them.
Correct.
What I've always loved about you is your love of the city. I left for 30 years, really, and I was an ambassador wherever I was. I just love my city, and I'm glad to be back. You're from Bloomington, and I met you 20 years ago plus when you did the playing game, the first playing game ever in NCAA tournament history. Y'all won Northwestern, and then when you came down here, I knew who you were, and I was like ecstatic. But your love of the city blew me away. I was like, it's real, because when you got here, you're like, it's easy. Just like Ron Hunter just said, it's easy to sell New Orleans, right? But your passion is evident and it's genuine.
It is, and I think this is someplace that my wife and I had always thought that we would be. It's someplace where we met. My wife and I met here.
Wow.
We've always had a love and affinity for being here, and I really believe it was our calling to be a part of this community, and we're always grateful for every day that we can be here. And really, when I leave and I go recruiting or I'm going on a road trip, when I come back in and I see the lights, like I can relax, which is an oxymoron to people who think
the lights
opposite.
of the city. The lights of the city. I love it.
You're coming over the causeway. You're coming over the Twin Spans. It's you can relax a little bit. You know you're home.
Well, you're a full native now, baby.
Yep.
Hey, let's talk about some of the players, because like Ron Hunter, you have a team that's kind of set up for this year, because he's got a bunch of seniors. You have 3 in particular. I want to start with the guy that led the nation in three-point field goal percentage. It doesn't take long to figure out who can ball when you go to a UNO game right now, and Jordan Johnson's at the top of that list.
Jordan's a special player. He's from Memphis, Tennessee. Led the entire nation in three-point field goal shooting, which is a very, very
362 teams.
362
15
teams.
guys on the team.
Correct.
Do the math. That's a lot of players.
Made 93 threes at almost 48%. Set a school record.
So he's just not shooting one a game. He's putting them up and still leading the country in percentage. That's remarkable.
Yep. And he wasn't a secret. He was the #1 part of everybody's scoring scatter report. So to see what he did, but then see how his teammates worked to get him those shots was even more impressive. And then that he could deliver under the pressure. He's a special player, once in a lifetime guy for me to coach. We've been very lucky to have, really 6 of the top 10 shooters in school history during our tenure. So he broke the single season
Bo was
record
one of them,
that Bryson Robinson just set a year ago.
Yeah.
Or 3 years ago. So he broke that record. So to have back-to-back guys like that, Bo McCaleb, our all-time leading scorer.
I love that dude, yeah.
Is going to the UNO Hall of Fame this year with Coach Floyd. An amazing story as well. But Jordan leads our group. Tyson Jackson.
I want to talk about the other seniors too, though. Yeah.
And Caleb Wilson-Rouse.
Talk about Caleb Wilson-Rouse, because I know he's instrumental to your team.
He's a combo guard that is really the Joe Dumars of our team.
Nice.
He can play point guard. He can play shooting guard. He's an elite defender for us. Really a talented player from Chicago, Illinois.
When does the season start?
Yeah, we get kicked off November 6th, Monday night.
Okay.
We're at home on Monday night, and then we're at home on homecoming in our Hall of Fame weekend on Saturday, November 11th against Suno.
So wait, November the 6th, though, Ron just said they start. So can you stagger the time so us basketball junkies like me can go to both? Is there any chance of this?
I don't know. You'd have to take that. One's above my pay grade.
Hey, you've been to Shays de la Shays a bunch, I'm sure.
Yes.
We got a new sponsor as well. We're still with them, but I'm going Mr. Johns for you. I gave my man Ron 2 things because he didn't take the shirt because he's already got 100 of these.
Yep.
Because Tulane is a task thing, but you'll still wear this. This is a new color.
Absolutely.
That light blue is my favorite.
This is TAS. It's the bamboo cotton fabric.
The bamboo cotton. How good does that feel on your body?
It's unbelievable. It's the softest shirt in the business.
And that we act like we planned this. We didn't. I mean, when I put it on, I don't wear anything else. Yeah. I mean, for real, it's the best. And Mr. John Steakhouse, Desi Vega owns this. You know Desi.
Yeah.
My man Archie Rodenkirk. I love Archie, tall guy.
Archie's the best.
So you're a regular.
Date night.
Date night, baby.
Look forward to it.
Hey. Compliments of Primetime Sports.
Thank you so much.
All right, that is Mark Slessinger. Get out and support your basketball teams, man. I love them. I love the energy they bring. I love the passion they bring, and basketball is my favorite sport. Even though I love the Saints and LSU, I love basketball the most, and I get out there and support them, and I hope you do as well. Hey, we're going to switch gears because you know what else I want to support? The arts around this city. The arts in New Orleans is what it's all about. You know, we all know about White Linen and all these other events. Well, this weekend, I've talked about it last week, it's called Art for Art's Sake, and we're focusing on Magazine Street part of that. And right next, Mariah Bencik, who owns West London Boutique, is coming up next. Right here, we also have one of Tulane's, the American Athletic Conference's Players of the Week, defensive end. We'll tell you about him soon, too. He's coming on after that, so stay tuned to Primetime Sports.
Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding.
Hey, welcome back to Primetime Sports. We're going to take the sports part of the title and we're going to change it to culture, arts, entertainment, because that's what I love too. If you're from New Orleans, you know how to have a good time. There's festivals almost every weekend, and when you move away, that's what you miss the most. Well, there's a great one this weekend. That's right. Art for Art's Sake right there. It's Saturday, October 7th. It's a 6-mile party up and down Magazine Street. You got wine shops, you got boutiques, you have art places, you have everything, and they're all throwing a party. They're all having some music up and down the street. They're going to have free samples of wine. You're going to go into stores and check out things that you probably have never seen before. And we have one of the representatives today. We talked about this last week, but it is this weekend. It's right around the corner. It's going to be Saturday, so check it out from 6 to 9 p.m. Get there around 5, start doing your pregame, and get around and move it on. But right around the 3,900, 4,000 block of Magazine, well, there's a lot of shops that represented on this show. Task Performance is right there. We have Sotra, we have Elysian, and we have Esam Art with Tony and Tracy Mose. There's one with Sotra right there. There's Elysian. And they're right next to Task. Well, that one came out a little big. There we go. That's Tracy. We saw Tracy's name. I know she'll love that. But hey, we also have West London Boutique, and that is Mariah Bencik. And how about this? They sell high-end women's clothes. They sell women's clothes that's affordable. They have it all. And here she is to talk about the entire party. Mariah, I met you yesterday in person for the first time, and it was such a pleasure. But welcome to the show.
Pleasure's all mine. Thanks so much, Scott. Thanks for having me.
Well, let me say this. You said you moved to New Orleans 6 years ago.
Yes.
Can we ask you why in the beginning?
Yes. So I'm from Philly. I'm from Philadelphia. Don't ask about any sports teams.
Well, you did win the Super Bowl
I don't know
recently.
anything about that. This sports equipment around, this is the most I've been around sports things in my life. So this is all
That's funny.
Really
That's funny. Well, we do arts as well.
But it's fun. Yeah, it's fun. So I'm from Philly, and Philadelphia, born and raised. And from Philadelphia, I went to Las Vegas, where
How
I
long
worked
ago was that?
Gosh, I lived in Vegas for 8 years.
Oh, wow, okay.
So there I worked for all the fashion houses.
Nice, nice.
And I also opened my boutique. That's where I started my store in my house.
When did you know you wanted to be in fashion?
Oh, forever. Just that was all I ever wanted to do.
Really?
All I ever wanted to do, yes. I was really intimidated to really kind of, tell my family that, I didn't know what it would look like later on in life. I just wanted to work at the mall. That's all
Isn't this nuts?
I just wanted to be around fashion.
I want to be in
style.
sports, but you always think you want to do it, but you don't really know how to do it. Like, how do you start? How do you get in? How did it go for you?
I just started. I started working when I was 16.
In stores?
And at Express.
There you go.
And I worked there, and I just sort of worked my way up. I just, really didn't know how to kind of really express what it was that I wanted to do ultimately until I moved to London. And studied,
okay.
And so there is where I really kind of honed
Hence
in
the
on
name
the craft.
West London Boutique.
I was inspired in the western part of the city of London.
Oh, that's very cool. I love this. Is this something in your store?
Have I
gotta
brightened
bring
your
the
day?
shoes out. These
Have
are
I
on point. Can we get a
brightened your
camera?
day?
Look at
Yes.
these. I got in. My eyes already started sparkling when I saw that. I'm in a better mood.
Well, it's overcast, so I had to bring a little.
You did. You brought the
a little
sunshine
bright,
in.
Yeah, a little brightness. Never hurt
I
anybody.
love it all. And you got some Tulane colors. You got some LSU colors. Tulane's
gosh.
got the green. You got the LSU with the purple and gold. You didn't even know you were representing our local team.
Didn't even know it. And it's for sale. So come by the shop.
Listen, that is the best mannequin I've ever seen. That's perfect. We got to buy those.
That's gracious.
Let's talk about what's happening this weekend, because it's a big event. And I know we have Esam Art Gallery is one of our clients here. That's Tracy and Tony.
Love Tracy and Tony, yes.
Sotra and Elysian, which are great places, and Task. But it goes all the way. Tell us what it's about.
So Art for Art's Sake is like a rite of fall, right?
Okay.
It's like the one of the biggest events on Magazine Street, and we really look forward to it every year. It's obviously after a long summer. It's hot. Business is really slow, just to be frank.
Everywhere.
Like
in the restaurants,
summertime,
everything, right?
It's rough in the summertime for us. And Magazine Street, we're outside.
Right.
So who wants to go outside, in 106-degree weather, So it gets rough. So when Art for Art's Sake comes around, we really just come alive again. Everyone just sort of sprouts. You know how it's like a fall sprout instead of a spring
It's a rite of passage for fall. I get it.
It really is. So we look forward to it. We plan for months. We plan since the summertime. We plan for months for it. It's a really fun event. It started actually, can you believe, 43 years ago.
1980? I'm doing my math in my head.
1980 with the Contemporary Art Center.
Right.
Yes, and sort of migrated on to Magazine Street. So that's the year I was born, by the way.
1980? Gosh, I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
Now I feel very old. Okay.
So I feel connected to Art for Art's Sake. Even though I'm a transplant here, I still feel
1980 is a special year.
I feel connected to it.
You should feel connected. Tell me what you're doing for your. Give me an example.
For us, what we are doing, I like to call myself a purveyor of wearable art.
Oh, I like it. Okay.
So
you got that right on right there.
a boutique, but a lot of the art galleries really showcase what they've been working on all year. Then restaurants are offering all kinds of discounts and all kinds of, tastings. And for us as a boutique, we are having a trunk sale. So I have a little kind of treasure trunk. And it's just full of goodies. And so we're offering half off.
Seriously?
Half.
Wow.
Yes. It's just things that, I
Men, if you have a girlfriend, this is where to go.
This is the time.
What is the exact address for yours?
We are at 3952 Magazine Street,
3952.
West London, yes.
Okay, so that's a 3900 block. I mean, because I get confused. Task it would be like
Task
the 38.
is right across the street. I think they're the 3800 block.
Okay,
yes.
3800 block.
Yes,
but
great
there's West
yeah.
London Boutique. So there you go from the street. I think it's like near Austerlitz, maybe Constantinople.
We're right next door. Exactly, we're right between Constantinople and what's the other?
Yeah, right. It's all between Napoleon and Louisiana.
All of it,
that
yes.
part is right, and that's
Yes.
the part we want to focus on today. I know go all over magazine, but if you go first, make sure you get to that part.
It's a good block.
That's where all our friends are.
It's a good block. We really do look forward to it. We have wine tastings. We all have champagne and wine in our
yeah,
stores.
they're giving that away, y'all. So if you just want
yes, we're giving it away.
It helps the buying process
yes.
as well.
It just kicks off the fall season for all of us, so it's really fun.
Yeah, and you know what? The weather is supposed to be perfect this weekend because we have a cold front, which means it might be 70.
Thank goodness. Especially for boutiques. For us, we are looking forward to a little bit of a chill because I have long sleeves to sell.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I have coats. I have knits. Like we have to get people interested in these things.
That's right. Mother Nature's looking down on you because it could be. I've known some weekends in early October where it's still like 90.
Yes.
Going to a game, it's unbearable.
Yes.
But when I heard there's going to be a little cold front coming in, I was excited for y'all.
You know what's funny? My clients in Philly and Atlanta and other places where they have a little bit of a breeze,
right?
They've been shopping online. I'm excited to get my clients that live here interested in the fall winter collection now.
Oh, nice.
Everyone else is taking it from around the globe, around the globe because it's colder there. But now that we have a little bit of a breeze, the West Londoners here in town can also get
that's beautiful.
A chance to take a peek at it. Yes.
Hey,
so
listen,
we're excited.
I want you to enjoy the entire Art for Art's Sake, but focus on the 38, 39, 4000 block because that's if you want to be a friend of this show, those are the people that support us. West London Boutique, Sotra, Elysian, and Esam Art Gallery. And by the way, Esam Art Gallery has one on Magazine and on Royal Street in the Quarter, and they do a fabulous job. I had Tony and Tracy on back in early August. Very creative people. Their art is unbelievable, and it's unique, which I love. And I have a piece in my place right now.
I have a piece in my place.
And we need to get some more pieces. That is fabulous. So what is that? Can I just say what designer this is?
This is in from London.
Oh, no, okay.
This is by Ingenue, and it's wonderful because it never wrinkles. So it's great for travel.
Well, that is perfect.
It's great for everything.
Well, how can it not wrinkle?
It never wrinkles. It's the fabric. It just never wrinkles.
It feels like it's super comfortable.
It's amazing. We have it in all different colors. It's fun.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. The store across the street from you, Task Performance, they've been with me for over 10 years. Feel how soft that is.
Oh, my goodness. That's bamboo cotton.
That's bamboo. Look at the second person.
That's
just said
bamboo
bamboo cotton. All right. And
I know
then
my cottons now.
There's 2 stores you can use it.
Yes.
Well, two restaurants. Shay's Delachay's is on Maple Street, and that's more of a sit-down restaurant, where Delachay's, which most people know, is Evan Hayes' place on St. Charles. Either one, you can use both those there. But enjoy, everybody.
Thank you, Scott.
Mariah, appreciate you so much.
Pleasure's all mine, really. Thank you for having me.
You know what? She Ubered here because her car's and stuff. So this, I'm very impressed. And it wasn't like right around the corner, so thank you for coming.
Anything for you.
All right.
Thank you.
That's Mariah Bencik. Hey, enjoy Art for Art's Sake. That is this weekend. Please get out there, 6 to 9. Just go out and have a fun time. They're giving out free champagne and wine, so if nothing else, go enjoy that. And then go buy something. Who cares? Christmas is around the corner, so let's get it done. All right, hey, coming up next, we're going to go back to sports. We had Tulane's head coach from basketball in earlier in the show, but now we got our only football guest this week. That's right, it's Devean Deal, and he made the American Athletic Conference's on a roll. That's right, he's one of the best players in the conference in the week. 8 sacks, 4 tackles for loss. 8 tackles, 8 sacks will make you an All-American. 8 tackles, 4 tackles for loss. Trust me, I do football games every weekend. That's a ton. And a sack in Tulane's big victory over UAB this weekend. They sit at 4-1 right now. That means they're 16-3 over the last 2 seasons. He's coming up next right here on Primetime Sports. We're finally getting back to football. It is football season, but you had to. Thank you for humoring me with a lot of basketball, and of course, Art for Art's Sake. But hey, Tulane Green Wave are the story right now. LSU and the Saints, they took L's this week, but you know who didn't? That's right, the Green Wave. They're now 4-1, and get this. They're 16-3, like I said at the end of the last segment, since last year. That is the best 19-game stretch that Tulane has had in 80-plus years, since the 40s. That's right, the 1940s. So this team is doing great things, coming off that 2-10 season, hurricane-addled year in 2021 with Ida. Bringing them in, they had to get this disjointed and go out to Birmingham, and they weren't around. Well, they came back, and Willie Fritz has done an amazing job. Last year, we know what happened, 12-2. They went to beat USC in the Cotton Bowl. I'm going to tell you this. I do games every weekend. I've already done 2 USC games. Caleb Williams is the best player in America. I don't care what anybody says. He scored some points, but Tulane won that game, and that might be the greatest win in Tulane history, but they are continuing it this year, even though they lost some of their best players. But one of the guys that came back is defensive end, outside linebacker, a rush edge guy named Devean Deal. He's from El Paso, Texas, and he got some honors this week. Like I said, 8 tackles, 4 tackles for loss, and a sack this past week against UAB, and he is on the honor roll for the American Athletic Conference. Welcome to the show for the first time.
Appreciate you. Thank you for having me on.
Last year I had Nick Anderson. I had Michael Pratt a couple times. I had Tajay a couple times. We had Sincere Hainsworth. We even had the punter. We had the punter. We had a couple of our receivers. We had fun on the show. Tulane had that magical year. Tell me about what the ride was like.
Last year was just amazing. Like you said, came off the 2-10 year, my freshman year, and just we knew that wasn't us. And then just seeing us work together and really like, at the beginning, it was just us that believed, and seeing everybody, the momentum go, and then obviously the Cotton Bowl, that was amazing, winning that. And, we're trying to keep it going this year.
I love what you said, that wasn't us, because people that aren't in the know, that just look at a box score, at that, they don't realize, besides the hurricane, that's not an excuse, but it happened. But Oklahoma, I'm going to go back to that first game of your career. I don't know if you're a redshirt or not, but the fact is that was supposed to be a big home game. They were all fired up. They had to play it in Norman in Oklahoma, and they literally almost beat the number 2 team in the country on the road. They were up. I mean, Michael Pratt was this close to winning that game, And people forget that. Cincinnati, who went to the Final Four that year, one of the 4 best teams in the country, Tulane gave them a run for the money the entire game. They were leading that one. So people look at the record, and it's like, no, you don't realize under the amount of stress they did, and they still almost beat 2 of the best teams in the country. But then, you last season, Michael Pratt came on in June or July of 22, and he flat out told me they were going to win the conference, and I'm looking at him like, do I have to give him a drug test? Because no one would expect it. But you won the conference, man. And that was a strong conference with Houston and Cincinnati and all these other great teams. So when you got to be a player like on the field that year, did you honestly think that could end? I know we all want to believe it, but in the back of your head, it's hard to imagine a team that can go 2-10 because it's never been done before, all the way to 12-2.
Well, like I said, really, we put that year behind us. Like the work that we put in that summer and everything, like we were all upset was obviously the outcome of that year before. I was coming off ACL, so I was just working hard to get back in there. But we had great leaders, and really, like the best thing about that was every game we played, we did not feel like we were gonna lose. Even like when people had to tell me in the Cotton Bowl like that we came back like with 15 points or whatever. I didn't realize we were down that much. It was just like we're gonna find a way. We're gonna find a way.
Well, Kansas State's the eye opener for a lot of people because they end up winning the Big 12, and that I remember I was following that game while I was working my own game, and I had told people, I said they're gonna win this game. They thought I was crazy, and I didn't fully believe it, but I really felt that y'all would be in it and maybe have a chance to win, and you did because Kansas State. I've been to Manhattan, the Little Apple, many times doing games, and I know it gets rowdy in there. Y'all owned the game. It wasn't like it was a fluke. You owned the game, and was that the catapult for y'all saying, hey, we know we can do it now? We went on the road and beat a team that eventually won the Big 12 Conference. So what were your thoughts after that and going forward last year?
I think it just affirmed like what we believed, that we put in the work and that we were better equipped that year, and just like I said, who we really are. We went out there, we handled our business. Like I said, I don't feel like we all didn't feel like it was a fluke. Like we beat them, and we just kept it going after that. And really that 1-0 mentality came from that week and those weeks just locking in on the opponent and, performing.
You're from El Paso, Texas, right?
Yes, sir.
For those New Orleans that don't know, that's all the way the other side. It takes like 24 hours to drive out there.
It's far.
It's a long way. But I always ask this question because I love when people come to New Orleans, and I always want to know what brought them there. What was the allure for you to not only come to Tulane, I want to know that as well, but also come to the city of New Orleans?
Well, I've been a Saints fan for a long time.
Are you serious? Okay, give me 5 right. We are going to get along just fine.
I've been a Saints fan, but also just the culture. It's amazing. Mardi Gras, everything. Like the city does parties like I've never seen.
Wait, you knew that in high school?
And then the food. Well, I put a little research in coming to Tulane, and Coach Fritz and them did a great job of selling me on Tulane being a 40-year decision instead of a 4-year decision. So
that's my favorite line.
Sir.
It's not a 40-year. It's not a 4-year scholarship. It's a 40-year.
Yes, sir.
It's a selling point, though, right? I love what you said about the city and doing your research because I did a Houston game, and the quarterback for Houston was at Texas Tech last year.
Okay.
West Texas, not far from you.
Yep.
And he was like, hey, man, I said, well, why Houston? He goes, I'm from Vegas. He goes, it's Houston. I was in Lubbock. It was an easy decision.
Right.
You kind of made some. So y'all do look at the factor of what the city brings to you, right?
Yes, sir. I had some other offers where they were just super cold. They started trying to sell me on heated sidewalks, and New Orleans is the easy sell for me compared to
we
that.
got heated sidewalks. Yes, sir. 12 months of safety.
Anywhere that needs heated sidewalks at that point, I was
That's pretty funny.
I was like, well, probably not. And then Tulane obviously was. I felt like they were on the come up. They were having a great year. They kind of hiccuped at the end, but just. The school's awesome. I love my choice.
I love that you said that because I've never heard that one. They're selling you on the heated sidewalks, which a guy from Texas is like, wait, you have to heat the sidewalks? Is that your first thought?
Yes, sir. I was like, okay, that's new to me. My mom's from Chicago. She's like, that's normal. I'm like, I guess not for me now.
No. I'm from El Paso.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now this year you're obviously playing more, right? I mean, you had a couple guys leave and you were sharing some more time, but now you're a full-time dude. You're a dude, and you got that honor this week. Talk about this season because, I mean, listen, sky is the limit to me. You're 4-1 right now. Really could be 5-0 easily. Don't let that score at Ole Miss deceive you because y'all were winning that game big time early, and then even with 6 minutes left, you were going in for the game winning touchdown.
Yes,
and they got some fluky touchdowns at the end. But the fact is, this is a really good team. You're on a good team, and everybody around the country even knows it now. You were kind of a surprise last year. Tulane who?
Right.
But talk about this year and what you're trying to achieve.
This year, especially defensively, we have the new D coordinator, Coach Wood, and we really feel like we're just going to get better as the season goes. And we're trying to not only meet the standard of last year, but elevate it, just keep it going. I know a lot of people, last year we surprised them, like you said. This year we know we're getting everybody's best shot, and we welcome it. It's been fun. We know we're going to compete in practice and then show out in the games.
Well, let me ask you an honest question, because we all know that we want to win. We think we can win. We have confidence in it. But when you came, this success has come fast, right? Mm-hmm. But when you watch shows, and I was watching game day just last Saturday because our game was at night. I was working. So, and then when they brought up, like, Herb Street was like talking Tulane, like, hey, this is a incredibly good team, particularly Michael Pratt's quarterbacking. Do y'all like see that stuff yourselves? I don't even know. Do you read papers? Do you look at national stuff? Because no one was talking about Tulane nationally, and now y'all are in the discussion whenever they talk about the best teams that aren't in Power 5 and talk about teams like, if this was next year, they'd be like, Tulane would be in the playoffs. Next year they have 12 teams for the first time. They have 4. But do y'all listen to that stuff?
I wouldn't say we go seek it. Obviously, in the hotels, Friday night, we get to watch stuff. So ESPN, they might preview the game, or in the morning when we have a night game, we're watching football, and you might see it. And really, if they say something good, okay, you let it go. If they say something bad, maybe use it for motivation.
Right, okay.
At the end of the day, like you said, when we were coming off the 2-10 year and we said we're going to win conference, nobody believed us. So I'm not saying it doesn't matter what they think, but it matters what we do. So.
You know, every one of y'all have said that from last year. A lot of these guys have already graduated, Nick and all them, and I firmly believe y'all believed it now, because to a man, they were all saying the same thing, and they weren't talking amongst themselves about it. I'm like, so y'all obviously had that belief, and you made it come through. I'm going to switch gears because we only have a couple minutes left.
Yes, sir.
What's your favorite food that you never ate before you came to New Orleans that you really love now?
Favorite food that I never ate?
Well, what do you love New Orleans food? What's your favorite stuff?
I love spicy stuff, and then hot jambalaya, or even hot sausage po' boy. Like I can.
Oh, I love both those,
day.
by the way.
Yes, sir.
The hot sausage po' boys would put on 40 pounds on me when I moved back. I'm gonna tell you this because I was, regular shape. I hadn't had New Orleans food in so long. I started eating that cheese sausage po' boy every day at lunch.
Okay.
40 pounds like that. Just be judicious when
you eat it.
I got you,
yes, sir.
How about academics? What do you think about Tulane's academics and what that means to you?
The school's awesome. I'm in the B school, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. The building is amazing, and then just Tulane, like we always say that we're student athletes for real here, and just because the academics are so.
So when you say for real, you talking about other institutions that might not be the student part of the athlete?
Coach Fritz says that it might be like an edge, that we're a prestigious school, and I definitely believe like I have fun with the academics, and I think that it's challenging, but at the same time, like, it's expected of us, and nobody really thinks twice of it.
I've been blown away the last 2 years, all the guests that Jason has brought and Fritz is allowed to come on the show. Very impressive, and you're certainly in that group, man. So it's great to meet you.
Thank you.
And I want to give you a Tash shirt, and I'm so glad I have a green in your size, because this will be the softest shirt you'll ever put on your body.
Okay, yes, sir. I appreciate it.
And that's a Tulane grad that started that company, by the way. And also, this is right around the corner from where you go to school. This is on Maple Street, right by Broadway and St. Charles. About 4 blocks from that block. So yeah, go in there, get yourself a couple bites to eat, and also we're going to get you to sign the helmet. We'll do that off camera, because this has guys from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, and some of the regular ones like Michael Pratt and Fritz are on there as well. So that's Devean Deal.
Yes, sir.
Check him out. Number 90, right?
Yes, sir.
Number 90 in your program, and like I say, number 1 in your heart. You know it. Tulane Green Wave this week. They have a bye, much deserved bye, and they'll be back in action the following weekend. And hey, by the way, what a great time we've had. I got so many guests coming up. I've already lined up about 8 guests for the next 4 weeks, and trust me, these are going to be good and they're going to be fun. And one of them is going to be a former Major League pitcher. He's coming to talk about the Major League Baseball playoffs that just start tonight, by the way. That's right, the wild card games tonight. Can you believe that? So all that's coming up next. I want to thank Will Hill. Man, all the people that do. Logan, man, you came through big for me. I appreciate you. Alex, I love you. Everybody back there, Danielle, Ron Yeager, Jim Dotson. We're WLAE. This is Primetime Sports. We'll see you next week.